You was born in what year? 19...
January 26, 1909, in Rutherford County.
Born at home?
Yeah, at home. My dad went and would pay a doctor bill. He go get a granny woman. Shit, he didn't have no woman, take one to the doctor. He said, that's foolish. He go get a granny woman. And he done that even when them lasses of heaven was born. Like Joyce and Wilmer and them.
Yeah.
Mabel never did go to no hospital or have no doctor. He go get old lady Hamrick, no granny woman, give her $4. Deliver the baby.
You had two older brothers.
Yeah, Wilbert and Howell. He called himself Howard, but his name was Howell, H-O-W-E-W, Howell. But everybody called him Howard. He didn't like Howell, and he changed himself when he got up grown. And everybody called him Howard likes it, but his name's Howell. And I used to call him Howell.
Huh.
That's what I call him all the time, Howell.
And Wilbur.
Yeah, Wilbur, he was one of he born paralyzed. He never spoke a word in his whole life. And the only way he could he had a way of letting you know when he wanted to drink water. He could say, made some kind of a noise. We knew that he wanted water from that noise. And he lived well, you couldn't say he lived a miserable life, I don't reckon. In a way, he seemed to.
Did he seem like he was intelligent, or I don't? No, he couldn't talk. I don't.
He couldn't talk, and in a way, he was intelligent. Yeah, he would have been a smart man if he hadn't been paralyzed. You could tell that. He'd have been the smartest one of us.
Huh.
And
how old was he when he died?
22 years old. He lived to be 22. And
what was your mother's name?
Minnie Lee Wilson was her maiden name.
What do you remember about her most?
Well, I just remember she had coal black hair, fair skin, had long black hair. And she could sit in a chair, them old chairs, like people used to have, old straight chairs, they called them. And that's all you had back then, We didn't have a rocker, but we'd get them old straight chairs, and she'd sit out in that little apple tree. I remember her sitting on that little apple tree and singing Eternity. That's about, the song was about eternity. It was a sacred song. And I can remember her singing that, sitting on the apple tree. And I'd comb her hair. She liked me to comb her hair, and I'd comb her hair down over the back of that chair, and it would touch the ground.
Really?
It was that long.
Where was you living at that time?
I know I knew at the time, but I couldn't bet more here somewhere in Rutherford County. It might not have been in Rutherford County neither. It was right close to the line. It could have been. It was on, Hyle said it was Bate Wilson's little old house, her brother's little old house. It was just a one-room shack. Yeah, I remember us living in it. My daddy, he's gone off. I think he is in Georgia somewhere. He off out there. He was in Atlanta, I think, at that time. He got in a little trouble somewhere or other. And the law got at him about making liquor, I believe it was. But yet he come back and become a law. He caught one or two fellas. He took them in, he killed them. I told you about him. Bringing that fella out of loft that time,
Yeah. We'll get back to him. I want you to try to remember, did Grandma ever say anything about who her parents were, or was she too young to remember that before she died?
No,
Grandma Minnie.
Her mama was named Lot Wilson. Her mama named Lot.
Really?
Everybody called her Lot. Her name must have been Lottie.
And so this would be your grandmother, right?
Uh-huh, yeah. It'd be my grandma. And she was a whole lot Indian. She must have been, had red, she's bound to have been a Cherokee, just about, almost Cherokee full Indian.
Huh.
Yes, sir, she had a lot of Indian in her. You could tell it, and she had a funny voice. That kind of reminds me of her. But now, she was a good person. She was one of the best, everybody said she was one of the best persons. And she made a good living, too. And she raised all these children by herself.
How many children were in
let's see, there's, that I know of, is Belt, Vaden, Bate, and her. That would have been 4, wouldn't it? 3 boys and 1 girl.
Do you remember who your grandfather was?
I know who he was. You know what his name was? Westbrooks. He was a rich old man. He owned 1,000 acres of land and run the store over in Chestnut for years and years, all of his life.
But he never offered to help y'all or anything.
No. See, my mother died when I was real young. And I don't know why, but they never was married. They just she
lived together.
That's right.
How old was you when Minnie died?
I was about. Let's see. I can tell you about. I was born in 1909. She died in 1913, which said I had to have been 4 years old. Yeah. 9, 4, 13. She raised geese. And she'd pick up old geese and sell feather beds and things, and she made a good living. That old woman, she'd go out, raise hogs, and they farmed. You know, they was up. I know Uncle Beltwell, he was older than my mother was, and I reckon all of them was older than she was. And I'm pretty sure she was the youngest one up. And but anyway, my grandmother, she raised old geese, and I remember to get them old geese up and pick them and get them feathers to she'd make feather beds, you know. Feather beds sold high back then, and people.
That's all they were, yeah.
Yeah, everybody, most people slept on an old straw mattress, and them things are hard. And them old straws, they got it chaffed down good, you know. They sleep pretty good, but. If anybody had a feather bed, they had something. They was carrying somebody back and forth a feather bed.
Well, let's go to Grandpa's side of the family. What about your grandfather on his side?
Oh my goodness, we're getting back to another mess. There's.
Now his mother was.
Let's see. Well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you what her name was. Really, I couldn't. I really don't know. I always just called her Grandma. But she was a mean old woman. Now, she was a house. Now, she didn't care for nothing. So old man told me one time, he said, your grandma was one of the meanest women I ever lived. I said, what do you mean? What did she do that you said? Now it makes you think she was mean. He said, well, one time she went to was having a brush arbor meeting, you know, preacher was. And this is why he thought where he got the idea. And she got it making fun of him, shouting, you know. And she was just doing it out of just for pure meanness, making fun of the preacher, you know, and all the rest of them, she'd make like she was getting up there shouting, you know. And that was the only thing I could get out of him that made her so mean.
What did she look like? Did you ever see her?
Yeah, right now there. She was a little short, white-headed, fair skin. That skin just as fair as it could be, and her hair was just as white as... Yeah, almost an albino, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what an albino is, don't you? Well, that's what she reminded me of, and she was mean. She raised, and she had my daddy and Cora Pruitt, Claude Pruitt and Hollis Pruitt's mama, Carrie Mae Pruitt, married Eden Cole. Long years ago, and I don't know whatever become of them. Well, Claude dead, and I don't know where Hollis is or not. But Jim Pruitt, she married Jim Pruitt. There was a better man ever walked the earth than he was. He was a good old fellow, Uncle Jim. I thought more of him than every uncle I had, Jim Pruitt. And he married Corey, my daddy's sister. And everybody said my daddy and Corey was full brothers and sisters by ridings. But she turned she left Henry riding, married Elbert Lancaster.
And she was married to Henry first?
Yeah, married to Henry Ridings first. And she left him for some reason and married Elbert Lancaster.
What about Henry? What do you remember about him? Did you ever meet him?
Oh, yeah. He used to run cornmeal at Fayetteville. He run a cornmeal in Fayetteville and ground corn for years and years. I can see him now toddling around there, grinding that corn, putting it up in them strings. Didn't have no tape to tape the bag, but he'd put 12 pounds in there, and then he'd take a string, fold that bag, the paper bag down, and then he'd tie a string, run them strings around it and tie the string. And
About what year was that? Do you have any idea?
let's see, yeah, I can give you. And that year was about 19, and between 15 and 18. 19 and 15 and 18. Well, I should have been about 9 or 10 years old at that time. And if it was 18, I was 9 years old because I was born in 1990. And that was in Fingerville. My daddy took a job down there as police at Fingerville. He was police night watchman at Fingerville. In the year 19, that's when it was. And about the time the First World War was getting in the big way.
Yeah.
It started, the First World War, I believe, started in 1914.
Yeah.
And it ended in about 1918 and 19. Now, wait a minute. That could have been the time I'm thinking about. Anyway, it had been between, I'll say 15 and 18.
Yeah.
But 1918, we had moved away from Fayetteville. My daddy had quit there, and we had moved to we was living up on Burton Place, old Burton Place out about 4 or 5 miles out from Fayetteville, farming. And the year the war surrendered. And let's see.
Your father, Grandpa, he remarried. Mabel.
Yeah. Let's see, my mother died. She died in 1913. And he married again in 1914 and 15. Sometime 14 and 15. And that was an awful struggle between them in the time he married. Right when life was really, that today shaped my life, because I found out, and I've studied, and it is actually the truth. What happened to you from 2 years from 2 years old to 5 years old will shape your life, the rest of your life. You were part of whatever. And we stayed by ourselves, and I become a loner, and I have been a loner ever since. I never had nothing to do with nobody much, we had to stay right by ourselves out in the woods. And me and old Har went plumb wild. Yeah, that might sound like a joke, but it's actually the truth. We didn't see nobody. Daddy stayed gone all the time. And Wilbur, his preference, But everything tickled him. He laughed about it. He could laugh, the biggest of anybody you ever seen. That's all he could do. Now, he could laugh. And everything tickled him. It didn't matter what it was. Me and old Hal could be scared to death, and he'd be laughing.
Well.
And I remember one night, cats come in the cat hole, and they was fighting around the house, and we was there by ourselves. And we out in this little old shack in the woods, And me and Hal, we was scared to death, Wilbur, he just died laughing. He threw his head back and laughed. He just died big. No, I'll never forget that. So.
And then he married Mabel.
Yeah, then in 1914, or between 1914 and 15, about that time, let's see, it had to be sometime in the spring, because we had he made a crop out, must have been 1915, because he made a crop one year. We had 3 little houses, lots in Clifton away. He run a meat market for it when Mother died. Well, he traded them 3 houses and lots for a little old farm up in North Carolina, way out in the woods. And he moved us off up there. And I mean, we didn't know where the next door neighbor was at, and there wasn't there was nothing but woods as far as you could see, and the little dirt road into the house. Now, he moved us off up there, and he traded and got a hold of an old T-model Ford. A 1914 T-model Ford. Well, he stayed gone in that T-model. We'd see him coming. He'd come in sometime about dark, and sometimes be way in the night before we'd get there. It might not have been as late as we thought, because it's hard to remember just exactly what happened. But I know we were scared. We'd be scared to death. And it's one of me in Ohio that been living through his truth with. And
So y'all run wild in the woods?
yeah, we just went wild out there in them woods. And he had an old donkey that he made this crop with. He planted a little old cotton crop. Must have made about a bale or two of cotton. And that's all he had in. I don't think he had any corn. If he do, I don't remember any corn patch. And the cotton patch was way over behind some woods. And I didn't see it by the time to, because he wouldn't let me go with him and go in. He'd go in and plowed out, and he made that cotton. And we went over and we picked it somewhere. I know we picked it and put it in the house, in the back room. And we had it piled up there. And it was cold as mischief too. And down in the wintertime, cotton picking time, it was getting cold. And we had this cotton there. And he bought a Winchester rifle, one of these old high power. And we got that thing down and fool went back there in that cotton now. And Hall shot right down through the pull of trigger. The bullet went right down through this bale of cotton into the floor. And I know. And then we decided we didn't know how. We got that bullet out there and tried to put a bullet back in. We know he was going to find it. We hadn't done that, and he never noticed. We just threw it away, But we tried to put one back in there, and he went shooting there with the old bullet, And he got onto us, and we didn't tell him where we shot it at. And boy, when we get up that cotton, me and Hal, a little bit there, we was putting in the hamper, And we tried to keep him. We when I was standing over that bullet hole, we seen that bullet hole where it went through the floor. And knowed he'd see it, And one of us stood over it all the time. We knowed about where it was at. And we seen it. And we wondered hadn't set that cotton.
Is that where you lived when Mabel come to live with you?
No. He moved away from there. We moved one place. We went and lived with my grandma, Lancaster, at Inman, South Carolina. Had to live. And couldn't have stayed but a little while. So that's when I found out how mean she was. I really found out how mean she was. But so her husband was sweeping in the Inman Mill at that time. And my daddy went down there and he moved us in with him. And he went to weaving down there. He was a good weaver. And he went to weaving. He wove there for a while, working. And I reckon he paid them a little to take care of us or something. But anyway, they couldn't get along. And we didn't stay there but a short time. Then we moved from there in the house with Aunt Corey and Uncle Jim. But they had an old house. They built him a new house, and they had an old house right beside of that. And we moved in the old house, so Aunt Corey was over there. And she was another than mean as a snake, too. And I never figured she had too much sense. But she did. I reckon she had plenty of sense. But she'd go off and leave poor Uncle Jim there, and he'd have to come in and cook his own meals and everything. And she had Hollis Pruitt, Claude Pruitt, and she had a daughter named Carrie Mae Pruitt. And I don't know whatever come of that, and I ain't heard from him in years. But Claude, he died. He took TB. He married a pretty woman down there. His daddy worked there where Jackie's working right now. And lived right there.
Well, where was you living when Mabel?
Well, when we went to live with Aunt Corey, then when my daddy was running, he still had his old T-model car, and he was driving a public car. Didn't call it taxi back then. He put on a public car from Fingerville to Spartanburg, hauling people back and forth to town. Now he's the only man that had a car in that whole town. And they'd give him, them women worked down at that mill for $7 to $9 a week. $9 most they made. And they'd give him $2 a week to carry them to Spartanburg back on Saturday. And he'd keep that old T-model going back and forth to Spartanburg all the time. Well, he about made some good money at it. That was good money back then, $2. And he learned a whole lot about how to fix one. And whenever that thing would tear up, we'd tear it down. Me and him and Ohio tear it down and fix it, put it back together, put it going. And I mean, That was way back years ago. I remember we broke a crankshaft on it one time. Had to order one. We put that crankshaft back in there ourselves.
And that's where we met Mabel.
Yeah, and while he was driving this public car over at Fayetteville, he got to going with Mabel and married her. And that was the latter part of 14 or the first part of 15. It might have been in the year of 1950. Mabel could tell you.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. But I know he took a picture of her and them in that old T-model. We had that picture for a long time. Her sitting in that old T-model top back, you know. And said they'd all get in there and sang, go to Spartanburg, you know. Get a carload of them, women, you know. Get in that old T-model and they'd take off Spartanburg. And about that time, along about then, at that time, is when Claude Malone and May got married. He took them in this T-model now to get married. You heard about that?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's about when all that happened, Claude. Then they got...
Now, May and Claude are Sylvia's grandparents.
Yeah. No.
On her mother's side.
And he also, Daddy, he always kept a good horse and saddle. He didn't care how many cars he had, he was going to have a horse and saddle. He had this old big horse and a big Texas saddle. And he wore a big old black hat all the time. You know, he'd saved, he paid $7.50 for a Stetson hat way back when I was a baby. He wouldn't have nothing but a Stetson hat. He didn't wear nothing. And every time you seen him, he had on that Stetson hat. And so,
what was that, a cowboy hat? Or?
It looked like a cowboy hat, but I got his pictures now with it on. Didn't I show it to you?
I don't believe
I'll show you now. Can't show it to you. Yeah.
Well, I remember something about a buggy umbrella. And
that's the time. He had a spring wagon. That's the time that there was no man come over at the schoolhouse and he'd come up in a balloon, you know. There wasn't no such thing as an airplane or nothing like it. But there was balloons. And there's no man, he come over there about the schoolhouse in a balloon and he jumped out in a parachute. Well, I seen him at a distance. I wouldn't get to see him close, but I seen him at a distance. And it looked just like an umbrella when he jumped out with me. I said, that old man jumped out of that airplane with an umbrella. So my daddy had a great big old umbrella on this spring wagon, you know.
What is that, like a buggy or something?
Yeah, spring wagon. And this umbrella looked just like one of these beach umbrellas, one that had a big old staff on it, about that big, you know. And stuck down up in the side of the buggy, had a thing stick that handle on. And you get in that old horse and buggy and go to town with that umbrella on that spring wagon. So I says, fool, if he can do that, I can. We had a 3-story barn. It was a big old high barn. We put hay up the loft there. Just built an old straight plank up, you know. I got that umbrella and I got right up in the top of that thing at the end of it. It's about as high as that chimney yonder. Just about as high like that house right there, about like that. And I threw me a few bottles of fodder out there. I said, hey, in case I might land better on this fodder. So I threw a few bottles of fodder out. I got up there and here I jumped off with that umbrella. And I was coming down pretty chill scene for a little bit. It was bringing me down pretty close. And all of a sudden it folded up, you know, all this thing up. And here I shot out there. And I missed that fodder by about 10 foot. I hit the ground out there and I knocked all the breath out of it. I laid there just about dead. You know how he got down and rolled. He's out there just to laugh.
Oh.
He knows what I was going to get, that umbrella being tore up, you know. And he laying there with the breath knocked out of him.
How old was you?
I couldn't tell you. Let's see. That was in the year of about 1921. Which, I was born in 9, I'd been about 11 years old, wasn't I? Yeah. Been about 11 years old when that happened. And so, I stood around, I had a while and got my breath back and got up and I could go. My daddy come home. Who took my umbrella? I said, he done it. Pointed at me. How'd you do that? Come here. And he had a big old buggy whip and he kept sticking up down, whooped the horse with him.
Yeah.
He got that buggy whip. He tore my ass up.
Me already wasn't funny then, though.
No, me already about dead, you know. He really wore me out. I I tried to stuff, but he'd really get a hold of it. Okay? I couldn't sit down for a week.
Did y'all ever have any big cotton farms? Did you have to pick a lot of cotton?
All the time, man. That's all we done, raise. He'd plant cotton up to the back door. And it wouldn't raise nothing to eat. If he'd raised something to eat along, it'd been all right. We didn't have sense enough to put out potato patch and such as that, something so we could have a little something to eat along. And we just done without. I thought about that. He could have raised it just as easy as he didn't. We got us out there and put out some sweet potatoes, iced potatoes, something, which would have been nothing, and he never would do it. Well, he stayed gone all the time there, and he'd just plant that cotton right up to the door, and we'd work that cotton all summer, and then pick cotton all winter. We wasn't picking it out, we were picking for somebody else.
What would he do? Send y'all out to pick cotton for somebody else?
Oh, yeah, we'd go, We'd get out and make a little money. We'd get a little of it, maybe he'd give us, we'd take most of it. But I remember one year, I believe that was in the year of 1922, I would say. It had to be along there somewhere. We bought a little old place. He bought a little old farm from Stack Burnett down at Cooley Springs in Cherokee County. And that close to Cooley Springs School. And I had never went to school on. And that fall, though, he sent me to school. Me and old Hall school a few days. And I went to school, and the teacher come and took me in there. She said, "Where you been going to school?" I said, "I ain't never been to school." And I was about 12 or 13 years old at that time. 11, 12 years old, maybe 13. Anyway, I went in, and she said, "Well," and old Hall, me and him, Hall never could learn that. He was a dumb club when it come to a book, and he had to forget. But he's smarter in the way than I am. He got more common sense than I have, by a whole lot. Now, you think when it comes to doing something, old Hall is good at it. And he'll learn to do it, but he always wants to hoodoo the other fella. He won't come up to his part, but he's smart in the head. How I learned that now is he worked for me for a while. Now I got to be boss man down there, and he was working under me. I followed him my next shift, and the man, the only job that followed him, he'd leave him in the office mess you ever see. Leave every frame just running out and everything. I have to go down and help him straighten out the job every night. I'd get over to that. He'd just laugh big about it. And he'd do it again the next day. But he figured it, He said, "I understood how to figure that job to have it run out just right at stopping time. To make it run at stopping time. And he'd make a whole lot more money. The other fellow would have to lose that money and frame that stand. He creeled them and doffed them and everything. And the boy was following, working for me, couldn't make nothing of it.
Well, what did your teacher say when you told her you'd never been to school before?
Yeah, we getting back to that now. We went back there, and she took us back. She says, "Come on back here." She says, "I'll have to check you out." She says, "Have you studied in it?" I said, "Yes." My stepmother learned me a little. Mabel did. And she took pains with me, learned me a whole lot. I learned about smart from her. Hadn't been for her, I would never know nothing. Don't get. But anyway, she got me started off to reading, a little bit. And so she put me, I believe, in 3rd grade. She said, "I believe you can take 3rd grade." Later she tested me, put old Hall up there and said, "You'll have to go 1st or 2nd. Put him way ahead of him, and him older than I was. And put me up ahead of him. Well, it wasn't just a few days. I went going to school, and I was learning real fast. I was really always interested and wanted to learn,
Yeah.
And Hall, he didn't care about that. He was thinking about something else.
He can remember you used to bring him a book and say, "Here, find a word in this book that I can't spell." And he said he couldn't do it. And you were always a good speller.
Yeah, I was an excellent speller. It's just nature for me to spell. I don't know why. I didn't have to study it or nothing, never did. But we just, was second nature to me to spell. I was a good speller. I'd win every spelling match. They'd have spelling matches. And I remember one time, the Coolest Springs was one school there, and last year I went there. They had a big spelling match there, and they was going to give a big pencil set, little box of the slide thing. It had erasers in there and all kind of pencils. And the one that won that spelling match was going to get that box that day. And they was going to turn a whole lot of them loose in there, once, you know. So there was a girl, her name was Bonnie Hart. She was a smart girl. They lined them all up on the wall, you know. They got on choose, you know, for them. So one of them got me away, and they stowed me on one side and Bonnie on the other. They always done that on purpose, you know. Teachers seen to that because they knew we was both good. And me and her got in there, and we spelt and spelt and spelt. Finally, she spelled some big words. I mean big words. And I just wondered, there's one word that I was in doubt, what if it'd come to me, what I could spell it or not. But she spelled it. Well, it didn't come to me. It went on the next one. And come to a little old word of sweater. And she spelled it sweeter. And she spelled all them big words. And I come to laugh. And I couldn't help but laugh when she said S-W-W-E-T-E-R, sweater. And I knowed she's gone, you know. I said S-W-A-T-E-R, sweater. And she busted out to crying, and I felt sorry for her, you know. Tried to give her, I told the teacher, I said, give her that pencil set. He said, no, she said, you want it, you want to take it. She said, it's yours, it ain't hers. That little girl went off, and she cried for a long time about that. And I'll never forget that.
Where did you meet Mama at?
Well, I met her, that's how me and her met spelling night. But they put out word, you know, they was up at Coolest. No, that was Hicks Grove. That was long years. I'd been left home and come back. And so my daddy lived in Spindale, and I was down there on the farm. We're going to raise chickens. The mill had shut down. Then worked at the mill, and it shut down. The old man came away and said, why don't you come on over on that farm and just go to raising chickens, something you can't get no job nowhere. And Dr. Duncan up there had a hatchery, and he said he'd furnish all the chickens, and if I'd bring them out there and take care of them and raise them on the hay. Well, I said, maybe I can make some money at that. I won't be nothing to invest on the work, and I didn't have nothing else to do. So I went out there and fixed up the chicken house and went through that, and made a little money at it. And my daddy, he lived at Spindale, and I'd take the team about once or twice, well, every once in a while. And there's a big old sawmill where I'd go get him a great big load of slabs. And they had a wood stove, you know, up they lit Spindale. He had police up there, the city police. So I'd take them a load of slabs up there. And they'd come just having these spelling matches over at Hicks Grove School. Well, they had 3 or 4, had them every Tuesday night. Back then, times was hard, and there wasn't nothing going on. Nobody didn't have no money, nothing happened. And the hardest times that I've ever seen, and I'm 70 years old. The hardest times I ever seen was in 31 and 32. Rose up late in 33, and things began to pick up. He was the latter part of 32 and 33. Long out there, cotton went from 6 cents a pound to 15 cents a pound. And things began to pick up. But anyway, they started to say they got to have these spelling matches around. Some of them come to me and said, we heard you was a good speller. So won't you come over? I said, I couldn't do it. But that one night, next night, I didn't have to go to Spindale. So I'd just go to school out that night. I went in home, took me a bath, went over there. I was standing on the outside, you know, there's people all from everywhere there. I was on the outside. Here comes somebody at the door hollering, Elbert Lancaster, Elbert Lancaster. So I said, yeah, I am. What do you want? He said, you done been chosen here, won't you come in? And Aline was a chooser, Allison Hines was a chooser. You know Allison Hines used to live pretty close to us down the river right there. And they was going to school together. So she had chose me. Somebody told her to choose me. And she chose me. And Allison Hines, he had chose Miss Wilson, Boris Wilson's wife. He worked up there in the courthouse. His wife used to teach school. She had been a teacher for years. But she wasn't a teacher right then. She didn't quit being good. And anyway, then they just kept on coming down until they had a whole line of them, a whole building, a whole line on each side of the building. Well, they got all choosers they could choose. And they had the old professor, he was going to give out the words. So Mandevini was his name. So he started giving out the words. And they give Aline about, the first word she made that come up that was hard, she got commission. And I seen right then she's going to miss it. And I tried to whisper under my breath to hold her up there so she could hear me, But she didn't hear me, and she missed the word. And she was a chooser, Well, that throwed it to me the next time. Well, I spelled it, and it went on me and Boris Wilson's wife. She come to the head of that line, and they come and sitting down. And every time this word had to stop. And after a while, it got down just me and her. And that old man, he couldn't hear good, and he'd have to run from one side of that building to the other and give out the word and see if he spelled it right.
Huh.
And we like to run that old man to death. We like to went through that book, me and her did. We just kept standing up there spelling and spelling. And it come to the word, I'll never forget it. Come to the word and give it to her first. And they said, interfere. He gave the word interfere. She says, I-N-T-E-R-F-E-R-R-E. It makes interfere. I said, I-N-T-E-R-F-E-R-E. Just one R that she put two in. And I thought, boy, that woman, I never thought nothing about it. I went on out to the schoolhouse, and went on out. I had to take one, I just walked out the door. I wanted to go smoke anyhow. Went on out there. And some of them clapped a little bit, something about stuff. And some of them didn't like me nohow. Some of them didn't like my daddy. And they didn't like me on account of my daddy. I didn't know it, though. I hadn't been around that long. But he'd been police around, and one or two old boys said something smart about him, some old boy, and then he said something. And I cracked back at him. I thought they'd come on out. I thought they'd have to kick me.
Did you talk to Mama that night?
No, didn't get to talk to her.
That was when you first met her, huh?
Uh-huh. And so, this year, I went on home. Next day, I was out there watering my chicken, fooling chicken. And here comes Boris Wilson. I wonder what the world he was doing there. He worked the courthouse up at Rutherford, Well, he knew my daddy, Daddy's police, and he's always up there in the courthouse, hanging around the courthouse, like police you have to do. You don't witness something. So he came to me, he said, boy, I'll tell you one thing. He says, you've got my wife rolled up, says I've never seen her so riled over nothing. So that's the first thing that's ever shook her up. He says, boy, she has shook up. She said she dared you to be back there next Tuesday night. I said, well, I don't think I can be there. I think I got to go to Spindale. And Boris went to my daddy, told him. He said, for goodness sake. I said, I got to carry my daddy a load of wood up there next Tuesday. I didn't carry it for Monday and come back on Tuesday. I stay all night. And he said, he went up there and told my dad, said, don't you have that boy bring you no wood next week? And told my daddy about it, and it tickled him,
Yeah.
And my daddy come, he made a special trip down there. It's about 15, 20 miles. He said, the Boris Wilson come in there, the man told me the other day, said you had his wife, the maddest he'd ever seen her about anything. And she dared you to come back there the next night. He said, you better get you a speller and go to study. He said, did you got in? I said, no, I ain't got none. I don't think I need one. But I will get one, so I got me a speller. And I said, we went back there that night. And we spelt, and it come down to just me and her again. And I seen that woman looked like she was going into fit. So, and we spelt. And there was one word come up just like that, and she beat me just like I beat her. It was on a double letter or single letter. And I got the word first,
Yeah.
And she got last word. She knew just like I know that. When she spelled it, put double R in there, well, I know before she missed it was a single R,
Yeah.
And she done me the same way the next, that tickled her. But I never did go back no more, and I don't think he's coming somebody's up. But me and Aline got talking after then. I talked with her a little, and I got the date now, I believe. The next time I seen her, after then, was the baptizing down on the river when she was down there. And I talked with her then and asked about a date. And big meeting was starting. And we got to go together somewhere. Had to walk from, it was about 4 miles, I'd say, to preaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told her, I says, this evening you get ready to go, I'm going to have some work to do. It's late. I'm going to be a little bit late. You come down by Vol Mode, by Mr. Mode's down there. He lived on my daddy's place, right up down below them. As you come down by there and wait on me out there, and we'll go. And so she come down there, walked down, pretty down the hill there. She walked down there and her shoe heel come off. Now I know Mr. Mode, he fixed it back on for her. And we went preaching, and that we started going together.
What year did y'all get married?
And that was in, wait a minute, down there, yeah. In 32.
32.
We got married in December the 24th, 1932, I'm pretty sure. 32. Because Roosevelt was unelected, but he didn't take his office till the first of the year, just a few days later. And then things began to pick up. And I had a whole lot of scrap cotton in the field over there, and I told her I'd give it to her. She'd pick it. No, she got mad, and she cussed me and raked me out. And that's all you mad at me for, just to pick this cotton. I said, well, I'm going to give it to you. You pick cotton. They'd pick for me, her and her dad and all of them. I hired them to pick my whole crop. And don't pay the 50 cents 100 for it, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a milk cow down there, and times was tough that summer. My dad let me bring a cow down there, and I didn't need the milk. I didn't do it. And I told them, I said, y'all come down and milk that cow, you can have the milk. Well, I imagine, I thought they needed this. I don't know how many girls there was in the crowd, and old Howard and his Neil was staying there. And there was the old man, the old woman, Ada, old man Ada and his wife, Howard and Neil, and I think he had one child at that time, was staying there. And there was, let's see, Eileen, and Bertha, Geneva, Oza, and Billy. 5, 2, 7, 8, 9, about 10 people up there. And they didn't have one cow up there, and I know they could use the milk. And I didn't really need it. But old man Moat made him kind of mad because he didn't give it to him. But he had a cow, and he didn't have as many in the family as they did. And I was going down either. I gave it hurt them anyhow. Till old Howard come down there. Sometimes he'd come down, nail him and nail. You know,
I guess I know y'all had you ups and downs, but I guess at first it was.
Oh yeah, we got along fine. After, well, she didn't want to farm, and I seen she didn't want to. So I had 4 mules there and things. I went to sell them and trade them off. I traded one off for an old pistol, and that's fine. I was getting rid of them. And I went to Glendale. The mills began to pick up, and I went down there and got me a job at Glendale. And I told her to go up to Mama's and stay until I got straightened out, got a house or something. And I didn't work but 2 or 3 weeks till I rented a little old house down there behind Big Jim Bagwell's house. Rented it. And me and her and Julie, I went up there. And I bought $55 worth of furniture at Hammond Brown Jennings. I bought 2 bedsteads, $7 a piece, mattress and all. And I bought a kitchen cabinet, a stove. No, I had a little old stove. We used it. A little old stove I had.
Wood stove, I imagine.
Yeah, a little wood stove. And I had to give $3 for it. And we took that thing, and we moved out there. And Julie and Maynard was going to stay with us. Well, that made a good setup. Both of them had jobs, you know, when I was working. Well, Eileen, she never worked for me, and she was really young, so she's going to stay there and do the cooking. You know. We was getting along just fine. Everything was going love as you ever seen. Well, Julie and Maynard got to fussing with each other about something or other. And Maynard, he took off over with his sisters at Congress and stayed over there a few days. Julie, she was going to kill herself and all this kind of stuff. And I went over there and told him I wished he'd do something, come on back. And he said, well, said, I'll go get it, or something like that. And during the meantime, I was making pretty good. I made $7.35 a week, 13.5 cents an hour. That was big
time.
Yeah, that was big money. That's what I had to live off of. And I had to pay $1 a week for house rent, and I had to pay $1 every week on this furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was $2, which left me $5.35 to live on. But you know how much it took for us to live? $2.50 a week.
Yeah.
And we lived off of $2.50 a week. And I saved a little bit of money and messed about that. And I got to working in on the side up at Big Jim's. He put up a little old store up there. I went to work for him on the weekend, and I put up a hot dog stand under there. And I'd had some white-legged hens from down there, and I built me a chicken house, you know, fixed up. And they laid good. And I got 7 egg sandwiches down on Sunday morning. I was making pretty good. Till Eileen got jealous of me and an old woman up there. And she was about, I seen her going to have to quit that. So I had to quit that.
Well, moving along, a few years on further down the line, when I was born, in 1946, I don't remember.
You born in 46? I thought it was about 44.
No, I was born in 1946, July the 7th, 1946.
Well, we must have stayed 2 years at that place that I moved at. Because I moved up in 44 on the old Bennett place.
Yeah. I know I've heard y'all talk about that I had a lot of trouble, you know, I had a lot of trouble carrying me to the doctors and everything.
Oh, yeah, it took everything I made. I spent every penny I'd make. I'd making $10 a night. That was big money back then. Nobody else wasn't making. Well, I was kind of a boss man down there, and I had this crop too. I was up there. I lived on a camp place, and I put in about 15 acres of cotton. I hired old Jack Godfrey, married Bertha. Yeah. Eileen's sister, to plow it for me and all. And I had to hire the hoeing done, and I had to hire a whole lot of work done. And you took sick in that old house. What you done, it took a cold. And it turned, this doctor told me afterwards that it started from a cold, a bad cold. And it went from cold to something else. And 2 doctors, I carried every doctor in the country. It looked like he was going to die. And I got mad. I went over there first took you to Ryan doctor, and they give you a shot of penicillin, $10 a shot. Well, it wasn't doing your bit of good. And I seen it wasn't. I went over and told him, I said, y'all ain't doing nothing for this, y'all. He ain't doing no good. Something's got to be done. And made me mad. And I said, well, nothing.
How old was it?
You couldn't have been over 6 months old, I don't reckon, at that time. I knew you wasn't. You was an old man, you with the skin and bones and nothing, just laying there, and I just knew you were going to die. Well, I took you then, I went away to 2 more doctors. And one of these doctors said to me, said, you ain't doing nothing but run from one doctor to another this young. I said, I'm trying to find one that's got some damn sense. I want somebody to do something for him. I said, now you're right. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to keep on till I find somebody to do something for him. I said, now you know, I said, you know that young can't live if there ain't something done for him. And if you're a doctor, you say you are. And you're both doctors. There's 2 of them think. And I done got mad. And I said, now, if you know anything, I want you to do it. I said, that young can't live like he is. I said, I don't want to lose him. I want him something done for him. And they look at one another, and when I was talking straight to them, and they said, well, this one of them says, what do you think it is? One of them says academia, one of them says adamant. I said, well, whatever it is, there's something got to be done for him. I said, what is it, how's his blood? And shit like that. So he run a blood count on him, and it was just as low as it could go, and you live. And this doctor said, you're right. He says, he can't live this way. I said, can't you give him something, a blood transfusion? He says, sure can. He says, I'm going to give you a paper, and you take him straight on to the hospital, and y'all go in there and have your blood transfusion. He says, I can't give a transfusion here. And he says, he got to have a blood transfusion. I said, all right. Went there and checked mine, and he had a blood bowl, and both of them the same thing, type O. And they said, well, she just bubbled over blood, and said, you ain't got too much. Let her give us blood. I said, okay. She said, yeah, and they took her there, lay down, she gave you blood. And then they said, well, says there's going to be, it was vacation time for doctors up in Saluda. There was a baby hospital up in Saluda. Said,
but that was the beginning, and that's when I started getting better after the transfusion.
Yeah, but they told me, these doctors did, what gives you transfusion, and it says, I don't know where you can find this medicine, but it says he's got to have it. And he wrote me a prescription for it. He said, now, I'll tell you before you start, it's going to be hard to find. He said, I don't know where you're going to find it, doctor. And the war was on at that time. There wasn't hard, you couldn't get this everything. And I remember the name of it, beta consamine. Was the name of the medicine. I bet you they wouldn't have no idea what it looked like. But the name of it was beta consamine. Well, I started out that next morning, that day, I got in my car, and I took off hunting that medicine. I went to every drugstore all over the whole country. I drove the whole day long. And I was about to give it up. Looked like I couldn't get it. And come back by another old drugstore there, and I passed. And the man had a gallon of it. So I went back there and found it. I went back there, and he says, yeah, I got it. And I believe it was cow pens where I found it at. And I'd been all over the whole country. And that old drugstore at cow pen. And I got this bit of consamine, and I had to pour it down, and you wouldn't eat nothing, just have to force it in you. And they told me, he said, take this young up yonder to Saluda Hospital. They give me a paper. And said, you take him up there and take him in there. And so I said, all right. Me and your mammy, we got in the car the next day, and here we took off up there to Saluda. Right up in the mountains and everything. I had no way mark. And we got up there, and they said, we ain't got no nurses in here yet. They just opened it up, and they ain't got no nurses. Says, could your wife stay with him? I said, yeah, she can stay up here. Says, her board won't be but $1 a day. She can stay up here for $1 a day. I said, well, I want her to stay with him. I'll be glad to pay her board.
Yeah.
So she stayed with me that week. I went back home, worked in the mill, and worked in the field, and worked and called up there and tried to find out how you get along. And you couldn't get through hardly ever could get there. So the weekend come, I worked on till I went up there that weekend, and he was really picked up, done fine. I said,
well,
boy,
good.
he's out of danger now, I believe. I was tickled to death. So got up there, and they come in and said, we got nurses here now. Says, your wife can go home this week. Said, we won't need her up here.
Well, let me rush you up a little bit here, because we only got about 10 more minutes on this tape, and I want to, obviously I got better, because here I am. So what I want you to do is, everybody, says that Grandpa Melvin was mean, and this, that, and the other. I heard a lot of stories. I want you to just tell me some of the things that you remember about it,
Oh, he was mean. He was mean as a snake. He had a high temper.
What did he look like?
Oh, well, he wasn't no bad-looking man. He was a nice-looking fella. If he hadn't had that scar, the man cut it with a knife blade to about 20 teeth. And that scar on his face, he's scarred for life. And, he'd been into a whole lot of stuff. And he was just, well, some of them said this mean they had to make police out of it. That's what one fellow said. And
did he bite a man's nose off or something?
Yeah, he bit old Harris, his nose plumb off. Old Harris bit the end of it off. And I was cause of it. Me and Ohio was cause of it. The man parked his wagon right out in front of our house. He was tending some land over in front of our house, and he pulled his wagon up there and took his mules out. So you know what a breast chain is, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Thing that holds the end of the wagon tongue up.
Yeah.
You know, fastened onto the mule's collar and hands. Well, we got them breast chains, me and Ohio a little bit deal. We went out there and we got them breast chains out there, rings out there, and got to playing with it. Drug them off and lost them. Well, old Harris, he was he tried to be a kind of a little bully, you know. But he come up there, hook up his mules, and his breast chain he gone. He come out there and got on to my mother, like, and he knowed her by name, you know, and all. Where's my damn breast chain? I don't know. She was going to go out there and help hunt him, you know. He was out there. My daddy, he rode up on a horse. And he knowed it, Otis, Old Harris's name. It made him mad, called him Doc. Something, they had some kind of joke on it about. I don't know what it was. And right, but anyway, he didn't want nobody called him Doc. So my daddy rode up on the horse and he just snorting out there. Dad says, he said, my damn breast chain, y'all, they setting of them. And Dad said, oh, Doc, what's the matter with you? He said, you call me Doc again and I'll knock you off that damn horse with a brick. Oh, no man. Oh, Doc, you wouldn't do that, would you? That's just his nature, you know. Oh, Doc, you wouldn't do that, would you? And when he said that, he threw a rock at him. My dad just come off that horse and he went and got him. He knocked him down. And he went and got him with the ears. And he just bit the end of his nose plumb off. Bit it plumb off and had to gut him up from right then. And hooked up the buggy and took him to the doctor. He done that. Yeah, stick his nose, have his teeth. And I see you get mad at the mule one time, bite the mule on the ear. He did a choke. That's just what kind of temper he had. Boy, he had it.
Must have been uncontrollable.
He was. When he got mad, he just didn't have no control over himself or nothing. He was dangerous in there. Oh, he just went plumb. He couldn't, if he'd get real mad, he couldn't say a word. He couldn't even talk. He just stuttered like it.
One time when he was a police, didn't he go after some men who were accused of murder or something?
Oh, yes. Yeah, he'd go get them. He didn't care a bit more to get them. He went and got some out of a barn loft one night and had to walk a trestle, 180 foot high, Broad River trestle. And he said that's the only time he's ever scared in his life. He's marching them fellas back. He made them pull him out of a barn loft, old house loft.
What had they done?
They'd killed a man. There's $100 reward out there. And he goes around, he said he needed that $100 to buy him some bulls with it. He's on farm back here. So he went over to this here old house and sneaked up in the house. And the cotton plant up there, and he crawled out a cotton middle with an old lantern and his pistol and peeked in a crack and see these old women feeding these men up the loft through the scuttle hole in this house out. I know what old house that. I could go show you right where everything happened at. So he goes there and he's peeked around through a crack and listened at them, you know, just by himself. He waited till they all went to bed, and when they all went to bed, he went around, sneaked around the front door and kicked the door open right quick, kicked the button off the door, had no button on the front door. He done checked all that stuff. He kicked the door open and jumped in the house in the middle of the floor with a lantern in his hand and pistol in the other one. And he hadn't lit his lantern yet, but so he said he had to stand there a few minutes to get accustomed to that dark in there till his eyes got accustomed to it a second. And he jerked the lantern up and got out a match and lit it. He said, boy, they coming out of them rooms, old women in gowns and they cussing and snorting. He said there's 6 or 8 of them coming from this way. The old man Bill Wilson lived there. His name was Bill Wilson. So he come to the door, and my daddy had a gun in his hand and done lit the lantern in. Come to the door, and Dad threw the gun on and said, don't you come in here. I said, if you do, said, if you come in that door, you're going to change the world. I said, you can stop there. I said, don't you, if you come in here, I'm going to kill you. The old man, Bill, stopped at the door and cussed him for everything. He thought, said he even unbuttoned his shirt and said, shoot at him. He said, I ain't going to shoot you unless you come on in here. But he said, if you start in here, so you're going to change the world over there. I said, I mean that. He said, I'll come after. One of them was Hayes and the other one, I forgot that name. One of them was a hazel. I do remember that.
Not out of time, yeah.
And so he is out, eh?
No, just about. How did you get him out of the loft?
He made them come down and told me he's going to go shoot up to there, and they come crawling out. He pushed the table on there, and they come down on the table.
Oh.
And he took them out the back door, the low house, around the house, and had to walk them back 3 miles, 2 or 3 miles back to his house, where he's going to keep them all night. And they had to cross